This is a very wet and rugged looking piece of cherry. This came from our son's property. Well, it's been really wet here recently, and it's also been very windy. Well, the wind knocked this tree over, and there's a lot of damage to this piece, but that's okay. I've got a couple other pieces he gave me. Also, my daughter-in-law saw the bowl in a bowl turning that I did recently. She asked if I could make one. I decided I'll make it out of this piece of cherry that came from their property. Because it's so wet, I'll rough it out. I'll put it in my drying box. From experience, this will take a couple of weeks to dry, but you're not going to have to wait a couple of weeks. I don't do two-part videos. So when I get this roughed out, it'll just be seconds before it's dry and be back in the lathe. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down a little bit smaller, put a hole in it for a worm screw. So I'm going to grab a 5/8 bowl gouge, my face mask, and we'll get this rounded up real quick. It wasn't actually the wind and the rain that caused the tree to fall over. I had forgotten what happened, but at the end I'll correct that, and I have a very dramatic picture of what actually took place. So make sure you watch for that. There's one more thing you would like to do before you put this away and let it dry, is to establish a center. If I haven't used my tailstock to turn this, I still want to have a little center there, so when I true it back up, I've got a place to start. So that's what I've just done there. I'll get this off, get it flipped around. Okay, I've got it flipped around. I'm going to go ahead and flatten the top, and we'll start hollowing it out. I'm not really trying to get a particular shape here. I'm just trying to remove the bulk of the material so that it'll dry quicker. I'll use this hollowing tool to get back in here and get some of that stock out. And then you almost have it roughed out. You can see the water coming out. That's about an inch, and it is overkill for this size. But like I said, I need to create a particular shape on this. So I think that's going to be alright. I'm going to get this out, put it in my drying box, and usually something this size will dry in a couple weeks. Like I said at the beginning, it'll just be a couple seconds. With a little bit of magic of editing, I turned 1 month into about 2 seconds. I put this away on 5/21, and it is now 6/24, so it's over a month that these sat. I put them in my drying box, and they were at 32%, and they're at 7% now, and I've had them out of the box for about 2 weeks. I decided I would put more than one blank in there in case something went wrong. This really got out of round, which I can turn it into something. I don't know if I can make the bowl in a bowl with it. This one cracked, and it didn't crack all the way through. I could probably use it. The third one is actually, I think it's got the nicest wood, and it's a nice size, and it's fairly round. There's a small crack here, but I don't think it goes very far. So I'm going to turn this, and I need to have this done in about 5 days, because it's our daughter-in-law's birthday, and I did promise her I'd make her one of these. I'm going to get this mounted up against that block in my chuck, get the tenon round and maybe try to get some shape on it. Let's see how it turns against this block. Pull things out around a little bit, but I've got a nice wall on there, so I think we're fine. How much I have on that tenon, I'm not sure. Well, there's enough. Use my 1/2-inch bowl gouge and we'll clean that tenon up. That cuts nice. My diamond point tool to flatten this out. So I got to try to make sure that I get that real close to a sphere, and if it slips in there it's going to reposition itself. So I think I will get it flipped around in the chuck where I know it won't move. I need to flatten the top. It's got a little bit of roof top to it. Measure the diameter and make a template so I can make that as round as I can get it. Guarantee you that's dry. Okay, that's feeling pretty flat. So I made a little template here that I need to curve this over until that fits, because when I put it in my holding fixture to rotate this, it's best if that's a sphere. So I'll do a little more cutting and checking it with the template. It fits the template, but this is only a half template. It's better to have a full template that wraps around it. I'll go ahead and get this hollowed out in a shape on it, and when I get it out I'll check it with a full template. If it needs a little adjusting I can still do that. So now we're just going to hollow it out, and then we'll need to put a step in it to give it the illusion of a bowl in a bowl. 1/2-inch bowl gouge, 850 RPM. Sorry about that, I needed some light. That's probably deep enough. Yeah, that's within a 1/16, and you never know, I might have to take something off of the bottom to flatten it out. So I'm going to stop there. Put a line about halfway through here. It looks like about 1/4 of an inch. Now I'll step this down. Well, I'm not sure how far yet. Maybe how about that much. That's how much of a tilt we'll have. Probably don't want to go any more than that on this little one. I think that's probably 1/4. Yeah, And it is. So let's go ahead and cut that away. So I want a square shelf here, so I think I can do it with this diamond tool. Okay, now I just need to get a little curvature on that. Try to match that so that opens up a lot. I'm going to try this 1/4 inch. It's always confusing. This is sold as a, I think it was sold as a 1/4 inch, but it's a 3/8 bar. Wasn't very sharp, but I haven't used that for a long time, and I think I've only used it once. Okay, I think that's good. I'll do a little sanding here. Well, this is small enough here that I think I'll just use sheets of paper and sand it by hand. Sand this forward at about 500 RPM. And there is just not much there to sand. I measured the top rim down to the bottom one. It's 9/16. I doubled that and put the line on here at 1 1/8 inches. Alright, you saw how I marked this. That's 1 1/8 inches down. I have a, they call this a tailstock chuck adapter. I get asked about this almost every time I use it. I didn't buy this at Penn State, but they sell this one, and I think it's the exact same one. It's 1x8 thread, so I have some 1x8 chucks that I can put on there. I have an adapter so I can put my other chucks on, but I've also got a tapered cone on this. It's tapped to fit that. So that's how that works. I'll go ahead and show you how I adjust this. It's pretty easy. It takes a couple seconds. I'll get that fairly close. I don't want to hit that outside one. So that's the low spot. Yeah, you can see that. I'll bring this around and I can see that I'm now probably a 1/2 inch away from my other line. I'm going to tap it over. And I'll just start here, and I'd say I probably went, well, maybe not too far. So we'll go to that low spot. I just hit it right there. That is right on. We're right on close enough. I have a hot glue gun ready. I'll just fasten that in place. Time for the fun part. Make this look like a bowl in a bowl. So I have it hot glued in place. I've got my tailstock against it with that little cone on a live center. So it's just a matter of going ahead and doing it. I have to get down to that line and nothing off here. About 800 RPM. I think we have it. That's close enough that you can sand that off, and I'll do a little sanding on here, leave it in the lathe. I think we are just about done, except for flipping it around and doing something with the bottom. Okay, so I don't have a lot of sanding to do, but what I'll do is go around this edge and get it sanded up, because I don't want to do that under power. And I'll sand these edges here to get rid of the little bit of flash that's on there from the wood that I turned away. And that's about all the sanding I need on that. And we will do something with the bottom and then get a finish on it. So I think I'll have this ready just in time. It's all sanded up. I've got it reversed on here. I'm going to remove the tenon. I'll put the finish on afterwards. It'll be easy to wipe it on. But I might leave part of that tenon for a base. I'm going to cut some off just to have a look at it, and then I'll decide. Doing 700 RPM right now. Get that a little bit tighter. I think that's probably close enough. Now I'll slow it down. A couple hundred RPM. Alright, that's getting pretty close. Okay. Not too bad. Well, there it is. I'll get that sanded up, and I think I'll just wipe on shellac because it's actually pretty easy to do. And I'll be using the Zinsser seal coat, which is a sanding sealer. I've got a couple coats of this on. See, I like the color that it puts into the wood. And then I'll put a couple coats of shellac, which will be the exact same process. The difference is the shellac has a wax in it, which is nice for a final finish. Here it is. It's all done, and I think it's a cute little cherry bowl in a bowl. The outside bowl is 3.5 inches in diameter, and the inside is 3, and that left a 1/4 inch wall. At the highest point, it's 2 3/16. I left part of that tenon on there for a base, and I also signed it Papa. Not the Papa, but Papa. And that's because their first son started calling me Papa, and that's close to 19 years ago. So that's kind of stuck. I finished it with 2 coats of Zinsser seal coat and 2 coats of Zinsser shellac. And that looked nice, and that was all done off the lathe. I decided I wanted to polish it up a little bit. So I put some Acks paste in here. Took a piece of paper towel like this, and then you got your Velcro sanding pads, and I did it like that. And it was wrapped around here a lot better than that, but that was the idea. I'll show you that the next time I do it for sure. The other thing is, I said that it came down, I think, in a rainstorm, but actually I asked my son, he says, oh no, that was the snow we got. And then I remembered. And I have a picture of the tree laying over with all the snow on it, and I'll add that at the end. So, this was a lot of fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, you can let me know by hitting that like button. Also, leave a comment and tell me what you think. I love reading them all, and I do my best to answer them all. If you're currently not subscribed, please consider doing so. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I do all types of turnings, and I love doing them all. Let me know your favorites. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.